Joining me now, independent senator, caucuses with the Democrats often, Angus King. Senator, it's been too long. You look great. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Chris. Good to be back. And you hit a lot of the important points, man.
Thank you, Senator. I love you. I don't love your argument. Here's why. Is Trump testing the constitutional authority of the executive? Yes. Is there overreach? Arguably. But that's what the courts are for. Why is it a crisis? Why isn't that hyperbolic?
I don't think it is a hyperbolic. And again, I think the important point is the point that you made repeatedly in your opening, and that is reasonable people can argue about and debate the various policies, whether it's immigration or trade or downsizing the federal government. The question is, who gets to make those decisions under our Constitution? And here's why it's dangerous, Chris. It's dangerous because if you allow the power of both the executive and the legislative to end up in the hands of one person, and I don't care whether it's the Archangel Gabriel or Donald Trump, it's just downright dangerous. History tells us that concentrated power in one set of hands inevitably will be abused. And that's, James Madison said, if you put the legislative, judicial, and executive power in one set of hands, it's a perfect definition of tyranny. And that's what's worrying me. All the news, all the things you're talking about, the tariffs and the deportations and DOGE and all those, we're under this deluge of daily news, but we're missing something much deeper that's happening that I believe everybody, including Donald Trump supporters, should be concerned about. And that is the collapsing of our constitutional structure, which is the basis of our freedom.
I'm with you, sir.
The division of power. They divided power on purpose.
I'm with you, Angus.
And the reason was that concentrated power is dangerous.
I'm with you. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I get it. I just don't see it. Yep. He didn't. The Supreme Court went 9-0 against him, told him to facilitate it. This guy, I don't, your colleague, Chris Van Hollen, going to El Salvador to plead this guy's case. I think you stick with the principle, but they made a decision. He's got to follow it. Where's the crisis?
Well, the courts so far have stood up. I think he's lost something like 120 cases so far in temporary restraining order. There was just another one this afternoon that he has to fund Radio Free Europe, but the Voice of America. But the point is, we shouldn't have to rely on the courts. This is Congress's responsibility. Our oath, we take an oath when we start the job that says we will defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And what's happening is the wholesale movement of power from the legislative to the executive. And you went through all the things, and like I say, we can talk about what should we be doing about immigration, what should we be doing about tariffs. But if you have one person making all those decisions, tariffs are a perfect example. Congress has the power of tariffs. Mm-hmm. They delegated it to the president years ago in an emergency. Well, this guy's defining an emergency as whatever he feels like. I mean, there's no emergency at the Canadian border. I can tell you that. I live in Maine. And it's just downright dangerous. And you get this very herky-jerky policy on trade that didn't go through any discussion, any debate, any compromise, any review of all. It's just all in one man's head, and we've learned from that why that is just not a good way to govern the country. And then he's talking about taking away the licenses of CBS because he didn't like something on 60 Minutes. Yeah. I mean, that's a path to tyranny, man, when you start talking about compromising the free press. All you got to do is look at Hungary.
Senator, I'm with you. I'm with you about it if it were anybody else. We both know that this man is uniquely not connected from what he says to what he does, okay? If it were you and you were president of the United States or even senator and you were saying these things, I would be all over you like ugly on a gorilla because you say things and then you do things. The connection with this guy, I mean, it almost gets to the point of feeling that it's gratuitous, that if you really think Trump is going to pull the license of CBS, he's not going to do that. He'll probably sit down with 60 Minutes and yell at him in an interview. He is not serious when it comes to these things, and I get it. I get the fears. But are you worried at all with exaggerating the threat and losing the majority?
I don't think so. Listen, I'm trying to. My wife says I'm a combination right now of Paul Revere and Chicken Little. I mean, my job is to alert
As only
people
a
to
wife
what's going
can.
on. Yeah, but my job is to alert people to what's going on. And Chris, again, this isn't about Donald Trump's policies. Some of them I agree with, a lot of them I don't. But it's about how he's going about doing it. For example, just shutting down AID, shutting down the Department of Education, shutting down the Consumer Protection Board, shutting down Voice America. All of those programs were created by Congress.
Right.
The president, you know what the president's responsibility in Article 2 is? It's really simple. One phrase: to see that the laws are faithfully executed.
Right.
It doesn't say to see that the laws he agrees with are faithfully executed.
Right.
And he thinks an executive order is a law. It's not a law. And then he decides what he's going to spend the money on. But an appropriations bill passed by Congress and signed by the president is a law.
Yep.
And he doesn't have the right to go back and decide, well, I don't like this program, so we're not going to spend money over here.
But that's what the courts are for,
give the
Senator.
money over here to research.
But that's what the courts are for. So
listen,
soon.
I think that's a cop-out, man.
Well, then what can you do?
And what if he now? Well, the next level is what if he defies the court? I mean, you mentioned the Supreme Court ruling on the and he hasn't done it. He hasn't done anything about it. He hasn't responded. He's sidestepped that order of the Supreme Court now for 2 or 3 weeks. And so I hate to rely on the courts because they have an important role to play, and they're playing it. But I think it's our job to stand up for the Constitution and the division of power, which is what the Constitution was all about. It was the reason it was passed. They didn't want a king. And we're sliding in that direction. If you let the president decide which laws he's going to execute, which laws he's not, which appropriations, where he's going to spend the money, and then he starts threatening law firms and newspapers and television stations, that's dangerous stuff. And I'm just worried about where it goes. The biggest check is the election, but the next election isn't for 18 months.
Right, I hear you. Senator King, look, there are a lot of people who share your concerns. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of it, but the job is to bring on voices and let the audience decide where they want power invested and how they want to pursue their own interests. So thank you, Senator Angus King. I miss you. It's great having you on. You are a fair broker of what's happening in this country, and you're always welcome anywhere I am.
We're going to be back with you, Chris. Great to have an opportunity to talk.
Senator King, I appreciate you very much. Say hello to everybody up in Maine. Take care.
Sure will. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.